Hello.
Hello. With stuff we do to annoy our children. And we're going to talk about Thanksgiving, our favorite foods of Turkey Day.
Yes. All the foods.
Because it is Turkey Day in my heart of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It is all about the turkey.
Yes.
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 So as you saw in our Facebook video, the things we do to annoy our kids include running around the house after them doing this.
Only I do the chin tuck because I have lots of chins, and then it scares him.
I don't do that. I do that. I do this, and then I'll usually go and it's not really annoying though. It just makes him laugh. Where I'm like,
AJ is like super ticklish.
so is Scotch. Oh my god.
So I just go like this, but I don't touch him.
Yep.
I just go like this by him, and I move, and he's like, no, like I'm killing him. He'll scream like a little girl.
Yeah. I tell Scotch, like, I'm not touching you, and I just literally will keep my hands like above him by about that much, and he just starts shrieking and rolling around on the floor laughing. And I'm like,
I tell him he's hairy like a hobbit because, you know, he's hit puberty and his legs are very
like
hairy.
Yeah.
And then, I tell him he's my little hairy hobbit. What else do I do? I like to hug him in public, like at the grocery store. Come here, baby. Let me hug you. Or else, like, something I did that annoyed him that I didn't, like, do on purpose. Is when I drop him off to see his little girlfriend. Actually, I love her. She's wonderful. But I made him give me a hug and kiss goodbye in front of her parents, and he was like so embarrassed.
But you know what? Totally scored points.
Yeah. Well.
Yep. Those parents were like,
"That's my baby." I wouldn't do it. I just did it because that's what we do when we say goodbye.
Exactly.
He just apparently was a man now and didn't want that. But
I thought of something that I do that annoys my son. Every morning when he goes off to school, he's always got his hat on, and inevitably I always like pull up his hat and I kiss him right on the top of the head, and then I put his hat on sideways, and he's like, and he's always like fixing his hat as he's walking out the door. So there's that.
Pink bellies. Like, I don't slap him hard, but like he'll just be like relaxing and like laying down watching something or whatever, and I'll just be like, ooh, perfect opportunity to strike. And I'll real fast like hold him down with my arm on his chest and pull his shirt up and be like, he's like, stop it.
Oh my god, why are you a frat boy?
But he's not.
Neither are you. I would expect to see that behavior in a frat house.
I don't know. It's fun.
I'm outnumbered. I'm outnumbered by the men. So between my son and Hubs, the two of them are just all that is boy. The gas contests. It's pretty bad. The crop dusting is the worst. And then the other day, my son, we were sitting on the couch and we had a blanket over us both and we were watching Simpsons. And
did he Dutch oven you?
Worse. Silent but deadly to me, and then hotboxed it under the blanket.
Oh no!
And got up and left me with it and threw the blanket open. And all of a sudden I'm like, who farted? And he turned around and looked at me with the sweetest smile on his face and said, that's what you get.
See, what do I do to annoy Morgan? I hug her in public. I breathe. She's 17, so That's the
Oh
age.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, existing is enough.
My cute little baby girlie, come here. Like, man, if looks could kill. hmm Um, I'll be like, the Molly superstar. Yeah, I like to do that in the grocery store.
Nice. I remembered something, and I mean, this was years ago, so maybe this is why I don't have anything that I can do to annoy my son, because I think I just like peaked early or something. Um, when he was a toddler, he threw like 2 tantrums in public, and the one was like in the middle of the YMCA, like right in the middle of an intersection of the hallways, and he just sat down and started kicking and screaming, and I was like, you don't stop it, I'm gonna show you how it's done. And he was just like, whatevs. And I got down on the floor right next to him and I started imitating him. And he just looked at me with this absolutely mortified look as people like walked around us to avoid us. And I'm like, no, man, you want to bring it? Bring it.
I used to do that. Well, my kids used to try whining, but I'm doing better. Oh no, this is awful. Why are you making me do that? Yeah.
I make my kid laugh. So if he starts like getting in a tiff, all of a sudden I'm like, it's like, what? And I'm like, what?
Oh God.
He's
Or
like,
I'll do something really stupid and just be like, what? What happened? What's the matter?
oh my God. See, my mother and I were always the ones getting in trouble. My sister was the mother child. So I'm carrying on this legacy from my mom,
Yes.
where we would go shopping, the girls, we'd all go shopping, and then, the one time that sticks out the most in my head is we were in Kmart, back when Kmart was still a thing, and Tickle Me Elmo had just been released.
Did you turn them all on? Because I like to turn them all on. Every
Like a
single one.
giant demonic lemming army.
Yes. Yes.
And like we tried one first because we're like, what does this do? And we like pushed it and it was like, that tickled it. I was like, like right off the shelf, and we're like, and my mother and I like went from one end of the shelf to the other, like, and just pressed all of them. And so as they started laughing and vibrating in true lemming off a cliff style, my sister is there trying to push them all back up on the shelves as they're like cascading around her, laughing demonically. And my mother and I are hysterical laughing, and we ran. We just ran, left her there with like this pile of Elmo. And the manager of the store is walking around and he hears this commotion in the toy aisle, and he was used to it because that place was just a hole. But
I'm sure everybody did it.
Well, I mean,
or at least enough.
I worked there at one point, so he knew who I was. And he was like, yeah, okay, you earned this. But but yeah, my sister's there like, you guys, like trying to push them all back on the shelves. My mom and I are gone. And the manager of the store comes like walking around the corner and he's about to yell, and then he sees it's me and my mom. And he looks and sees my sister like trying to hold all of these Elmos back. And he just goes, keeps walking. My cat used to do that to me too, so I'm like, it must just be a thing. Hubs does it. Yeah, my son does. Everybody.
I don't know. I get that look a lot. Like, and then just they keep walking.
Yeah. So
I consider it a victory if they react, honestly.
No attention's bad attention.
Yeah, exactly. All attention is good attention.
I remember, so here's a funny story. And it's nothing to do with like annoying relatives. A friend of mine and I, when I was working in Philly, and I lived in Philly, lived just off South Street, and my friend and I had done a pub crawl from Broad Street all the way down into Head House Square, which there's a lot of bars in between. So we made it to Head House Square, and we were a little stumbly by that point. And so we go into CVS because I was like, oh man, I got to get a broom and a dustpan because, I just moved in not that long ago and I needed something to clean the apartment. So we go into CVS and I get a broom and a dustpan. And we're coming back, and literally, like, it couldn't fit in the bag. So I'm carrying the broom and dustpan, and I've got like my bag of cleaning supplies, and people are looking at us like we're nuts because we're hysterical laughing and just drunk off our asses, and we're carrying all these cleaning supplies, and these people are looking at us like we're crazy. And I was like, we're gonna clean up this shithole city. And they were like,
one broom at a time.
And I was like, I don't know, was I not supposed to say that? I thought it was funny. And then I thought it was even funnier because I thought, oh my God, what would happen if we did drunkenly start cleaning up the city with all these cleaning supplies? Like, would we be arrested?
What would they arrest you for? Public cleaning?
The peace? I don't know. Like, I don't know what they could possibly arrest us for other than, like,
disturbing the pieces of garbage on the street.
I mean, I felt bad because, like, they did have guys out there every morning at the crack of dawn with their, like, 3 bristle brooms, like, just kind of swatting at trash on the sidewalk. And I'm like, dude, just get a broom.
Now that you mention that, when I moved to New York, and I've been to the city a few times, a whole lot more than once, a few more than, enough.
Oh, you were there with me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not the only time I've been there. But you know what I never have seen in New York City that I honestly expected to because the movies made me expect it?
Trash.
No.
There's a lot of trash. Like, I can show you where the trash is.
I've seen trash. I was the trash. There are reflections. But no, like, you know how they always show, like, in Central Park, and then there's, like, the maintenance man, and he's got the little spiky pole, and he's picking up trash? Never seen one.
Never. They're underground now. It's like Disney World over there. You never see it getting cleaned up, but it's cleaned up.
Ish, yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
I mean, for a big city, its size,
it's surprising.
Pretty clean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Philly always smelled like a mix of, like, trash and vomit and sewage.
So, like New Jersey.
No, New Jersey has different odors depending on the town you're going through.
That's true.
Yeah, I always knew I was heading into Jersey City because I could smell the old factory that was there. And it had been like a fish factory at some point. And I guess when they abandoned it, they just left all the fish.
Oh, ew.
And God knows what else in there. And then the rats came, and then the rats ate the fish, and the rats died, and then the rats ate the other rats. And it was just like this ongoing rot smell of, like, old rot. And it was the weirdest smell ever of, like, really progressed rot. And that's how I knew I was in Jersey City, was especially if I got
smell of decay.
Well, because I could smell the tunnel. Like, if you got close to the tunnel, that's where the factory was.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely smell the tunnel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. The tunnels have their own scent going on. You can smell that for blocks outside the tunnels. It's just a weird sort of, it's like a subway smell, but for cars.
Yeah. Yeah, the GW Bridge has an interesting smell.
It does.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people peeing on the GW Bridge.
Yeah. I was going to say exhaust and urine and
probably some vomit.
Decay.
Yeah.
Mud and
bird shit.
Vomit.
Yeah. There's a blend.
And then when it's hot, it's even worse.
Oh, Philly in summertime, or South Street in summertime was just, I literally saw a father and daughter duo dumping their trash into the storm drains. I was like, that's not what that's for. I was like, now I understand why it smells like this. And I mean, like, trash bins just overflowing, and it was awful. But yeah, it was not a very friendly city. I I was kind of disappointed by it because I really thought that it had a lot of potential, and I was excited by the potential of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was kind of like, wow, no, this is not my place, and I left.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Yeah.
And on that segue, we should talk about Thanksgiving now that we've
Thanksgiving
done
and eating,
garbage.
now that we've talked about vomit and sewage.
Yeah, let's talk about food.
Ooh, sounds like
Because that's
dinner
what
with
we
my
do.
mom. For those not in the know, my mother was a nurse, and
Yeah.
every dinner conversation inevitably contains something about stomas, infections, and wound care.
Mm-hmm. Seems
So,
right.
yeah, like watching those like Dr. Pimple Popper videos on YouTube, I'm like, what else? I'm sitting there like eating a slice of pizza watching Dr. Pimple Popper. Like, I don't care.
The main thing that bothers me is like in horror movies and like fingernails being pulled out or whatever,
Ugh.
that kind of stuff. That's like, I
Yeah,
can't handle that. But because I can feel that,
yeah,
like
it makes my
you
fingers
feel
hurt.
it. Mm-hmm.
It totally makes
Yeah.
my fingers hurt. Or if like they smash their kneecaps or something like that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I know that pain.
Yep. I felt that. Or back injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all
Head
of that.
injuries.
Broken bones, broken ligaments,
Yeah.
burning, like all of that. I'm like, ow. Yeah, but food. So, what is your favorite food of Thanksgiving?
I mean, that's hard to say because there's a lot. Like, obviously, I like turkey,
Oh, wait,
but I also like a nice ham on Thanksgiving.
ham is awesome.
I love stuffing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like cranberry sauce if it's homemade.
Oh, see, I like the can.
I love homemade cranberry sauce. I make the best.
I'm not a fan of homemade cranberry sauce. It's got to be the Ocean Spray can. And it's got to come out like formed like that can. And then
See, to me,
like,
that tastes
convenient slice marks.
that tastes like metal to me.
It doesn't taste like metal to me. It tastes like sour cranberries. But I mean, I mix it in with stuff too. Like I mix it in with
But
the
to me,
stuffing.
it
I mix
sounds
it
like
in with the turkey.
it tastes like metal and chemicals to me. I don't know.
I think
But
because you put too much stuff on it. Like with the turkey and the stuffing and then the gravy on top of it, it's like, is it even cranberry sauce anymore?
that's not the point of it. Like,
That's totally my point.
not mine. I also like potato salad. Like my mom had this great potato salad recipe, and I really like that. And love pie. As a matter of fact, I'm making pie this weekend. Test run.
What you making?
Test run. I'm making a cherry and an apple.
Ooh, good choices.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Wednesday I'll probably make a pumpkin, a cherry, and an apple. Maybe a peach. Yeah, because we like pie. We like pie a lot here. Green bean casserole, if it's done right.
Hubs makes the best green bean casserole. He used the French cut green beans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they soak up all the mushroom soup. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so fattening. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like very basic. Very basic. I don't do like fancy stuff. But I do it all from scratch. And I use seasoning.
Seasoning is good.
Well, I mean like more like not white people. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not bland. Like
They're not salt and pepper. You're getting fancy.
Yeah, it's not just salt and pepper and mayonnaise. Like there's like spices.
I like to put garlic on my turkey.
Garlic on almost everything. There's no such thing as too much garlic. I do I make like I'll make melted butter with garlic and then like infuse the garlic flavor in the butter, and then I put that under the turkey skin with like I put some sage and some poultry seasoning and stuff like that in it. Put it under the turkey skin and on top. And then I cook the turkey with an orange and a lemon inside, so that it, and then like a sprig of rosemary sometimes, so it gives it that nice citrus flavor.
We usually
Yeah.
have the stuffing inside the turkey, so I know it's dangerous and crazy, but we like to live dangerous here.
No, it's not. It's not. That's just not the way I prefer it.
Yeah, I like the in the bird
I like
stuff.
the citrus. I like the citrus flavor in my turkey. So, and then usually I have to make, because my family doesn't really like potato salad because I don't know, they're communists or something. They're weird. Um,
Do they drink
I
vodka
know.
instead of water?
I don't. They're really. It's very strange. They don't really like potato salad. None of them. Not my brother, not my son, and not my daughter. Nobody. So I make it, and it's for just me. And then I make them mashed potatoes because they're boring.
I like mashed potatoes too.
But I make usually garlic mashed potatoes.
Garlic cheese mashed potatoes, man.
Yep. Garlic and cheddar.
Nice.
And then like I'll probably make bread. And I'll probably this year, they like it. Sometimes I'll put rosemary and oregano and basil, and I'll mix that into the bread dough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably do that again this year.
I've been itching to make bread again.
What's that?
I said I've been itching to make bread again, so maybe I'll do that sometime.
I think it might be just AJ and I on the day this year.
Yeah, I think we're going over to Hubs's brothers and sisters-in-law's house, which is like right down the road here. And she's cooking, so.
Yeah, I think Bill got invited somewhere, and I was like, yeah, go ahead, because we'll just, like, I'm so used to, because my dad, he was always traveling and he was always away for work. So we just did the holidays like when he got home. So it's not, my feelings aren't hurt if it's not on the day.
Oh, we
But
never
I will have
on the day. Like even our birthdays, we combined them.
Yeah, we just do it whenever, like whenever everyone's home. And then with now the kids like living in two separate houses, they get like holidays sometimes 3 times. You know.
We had Christmas with my parents. Christmas with my mom's side of the family. And then other Christmas, like whoever else had presents and stuff, like throughout. So it was like, sometimes 3, 4, 5 Christmases. And I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Like, and I just, I like to cook, so I'll be cooking on the day, and I'll have AJ here. And so, we'll have turkey, because you got to have turkey. Even if I make a ham, I'll make a turkey too, because,
I have,
but if
I have, I got brie in preparation.
Ooh, are you gonna do like the baked brie?
Baked brie with turkey and cranberry sauce in a sandwich.
Oh, brilliant. I think maybe I'll make a baked brie this year. Do you use like the raspberry?
No, I just get a wedge of brie, and then I use nuts. I use apple slices. Grapes are a good choice. And then flatbread crackers, and then just kind of drizzle it all with like raw honey.
Okay. Because I do the brie, and I wrap it in, of course, pastry, and I'll put raspberry preserves, and then wrap it all up, and then I drizzle it with honey. Yeah.
I just put usually I'll get like the little wheel, but since it's just me, that's probably going to eat it, because I doubt, like my kid's all excited about a fancy cheese party until it actually gets to the point of a fancy cheese party. Yeah. And then it's going to be me eating that wedge of cheese. So I'm like, yeah, no, I just got a slice instead. And I'll just throw that, because I'm fancy. I have a brie warmer. Yeah, I know. Victorian Trading Company is my kryptonite.
I don't know about you, man.
I love Victorian Trading Company. So they had a brie warmer. It can go in the oven or it can go in the microwave. So I may just be like pure trash, just throw it in the microwave.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, I'm not choosy. I'm pretty basic when it comes to that. Can't take me anywhere really. You can dress me up, but you can't take me anywhere. I'll be like, what's this? Eating with my fingers and
yeah, that's not the right fork. Fork.
fork.
Bitch, I'm using a spoon. Get out of my way.
When we first moved into this house, we found a
Mhm.
sterling silver pickle fork in one of the drawers. It's like about this big. I didn't know what a pickle fork was. I'm like,
I don't know what a pickle fork is.
so it's like this big, and it comes out like this, and then it has these like two prongs that kind of go out. And so I guess like what you're supposed to do is like spear pickle wedges with it and like use that for your pickles. And I'm like, or I just reach
Just
into
use
the
my
jar.
hand.
Yeah, I was like, pickle fork.
Or I mean, like if they're deep down in there, you just get a regular fork and stab them, like or a knife, whatever comes to hand.
Or you drain
Salad
the
tongs.
brine and you just dump it out onto your plate, and there's your pickles. But yeah, so we had like this little pickle fork that was silver, and well, maybe not sterling silver, but silver, like silverware silver. So I'm like, and they also left behind a cast iron skillet, like a little cast iron skillet.
Ooh, I love my cast iron skillet. That's like my favorite thing.
Well, Hubs had one from his old house that was about the same size that was left behind. So I'm like, what is this? Like a thing like around here that they just leave behind cast iron skillets as like a present to the next owner or something? Maybe? I don't know. So I've never used one before. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do with it. I don't know how to season it. I don't know how to clean it. And you're going to hate me. So when I first found this thing in the stove, I was like, what is this? Why is it so grody? And I mean, it was grody. Like, oily grody. Like, it was sticky. I did. I cleaned it. I know. And then, you know, I'm like, okay, it's clean. It's still kind of sticky. And so now they're just like hanging up in the kitchen, both of them, because they were both grody and gross. And so I just hung them both up in the kitchen as decoration now, because I'm like, I don't know what to do with these things. And then I read years later, like, you're not supposed to do that. Whoops.
I don't let anyone near my cast iron skillet.
Well, the funniest thing
I have it seasoned exactly the way I want it. I don't want anybody putting soap on it or using the rough end of a sponge on it, even with water. Like, don't touch it.
Well, I mean, these were so grody. Like, just grody.
Well, I mean, I guess they're other people's, so I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that you only want to use someone else's if it's, like, passed down.
Yeah. Like, if it had been from, like, my
then
grandmother, I'd been like, okay. But my grandmother didn't use a cast iron skillet. Neither of them used a cast. I mean, one was from Italy, one was from Ireland, or one was first generation Irish. So there was no cast iron skillets coming from Ireland. And if there had been, it wouldn't have come to me. So there was like 100 other people in line before me. So I'm like, yeah, no, these are just grody. And, you know, if I really, really, really wanted to get a cast iron skillet, I'd just get a new one and do my thing.
So much work. It's worth it in the end, though.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, you know my germophobia. And
you wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten better over the years.
I imagine it's probably gotten worse with quarantine.
It hasn't gotten worse with quarantine, believe it or not, because the house is like
your fortress.
Well, it's like a fortress, but it's also like a clean room. You know, it's just like it's disinfected, it's clean.
It's your bubble.
Yeah. There's controlled interactions. So I'm like, okay, I know where my kid goes every day. I know who he's interacting with. I know.
So then, yeah, it has gotten worse. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I have talked a lot about what I like.
I love turkey. Absolutely love turkey. Hubs makes an amazing turkey dinner. And he does this like throughout the year because he knows I love turkey dinners. Like he knows Thanksgiving's my jam. And so like at random, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I was thinking about making a turkey dinner this weekend. I was like, I'm not going to argue with that. You know, feed me. So...
Winter's my favorite season because I can like use the oven freely.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
do I use the oven?
well, we've got a summer kitchen too. So we've got the kitchen down in the basement that we use for cooking in the summertime. In fact, that was Hubs's idea because he wanted a summer kitchen. He was all about the summer kitchen. I was like, oh, I was like, throw it in a fire outside.
Yeah, summer kitchen.
Summer
Bitch,
kitchen
that
outside in a fire.
you mean a grill?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got an electric stove for downstairs. So in the summertime, it's nice because we can literally just cook downstairs and it stays downstairs, and then we bring it up and then close the door and it's gone. We don't have to worry about heating up the rest of the house. But I've seen summer kitchens here in the older houses that are like from the 17 and 1800s that literally have their own secondary building, and that's the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like an inside kitchen inside the house for the wintertime,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly it's that outer kitchen. And it's sometimes it's connected to the house, sometimes it's not, but I mean, it's like this huge...
That seems to me incredibly inconvenient.
It is, but considering we're not too far from the Mason-Dixon line, I'm guessing the original owners of the house probably didn't get out there much.
Didn't care if it, yeah.
Yeah. So
it arrived ready for them, hot and perfect, and yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I like the idea because, like, the one house we went to look at before we looked at this one, it had a summer kitchen, like its own building, and it was
like an outbuilding. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was literally like 2 steps across the courtyard. So it was a 1700s farmhouse made of fieldstone. It had not been set up for wiring or plumbing until later, and it was very retrofitted and very rudimentary. And then there was this summer kitchen, and the fireplace in the summer kitchen was a walk-in fireplace.
That's amazing.
It was huge. And so it had these huge windows, and then there's this giant fireplace that, like, literally I could reach up. So I'm 5 feet tall. I could reach up and touch the top. So that's how tall this fireplace was. And it was this big archway of fieldstone. And then it had like stone seats that looked almost like benches, and then underneath were areas for like logs and stuff to heat the stone tops. And then there was giant wrought iron arms that came out, and one of them had the big giant like cauldron on it.
Was there like a spit so you could like stick a hog on it or whatever?
I'm sure there probably was. I mean, we were looking in the dark and the electric was turned off, so it was really hard to see anything.
It's a good way to show a house.
Well, we didn't realize the electric was turned off until we got there, and then we realized that the summer kitchen had no electric run to it at all. So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. But then, like, the rest of the house, we toured the house itself proper during the daylight hours, and then, like, the electric wasn't really on. Like, there was minimal electric, and you could see that they had been trying to renovate the house and like retrofit everything. And somewhere along the line, that went drastically wrong for that couple.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it looked like somebody was kind of like squatting there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just lost my light. Sorry. Doggy earthquake. Continue, please.
So that summer kitchen, though, was pretty sweet. I mean, that would have made an amazing kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have had fun in that kitchen, I'm sure. I do
right.
Like, get in the kitchen. I don't let my husband do all the cooking. I let him do most of the cooking because he's good at it. So let me think. He makes an awesome turkey, and the green bean casserole is amazing. I never had green bean casserole until I met my husband.
Okay.
And then I tried it for the first time, and I was just like, oh, that's really good. And then he made it, because he was like, it's good, but what if we did it with, like, French cut green beans, and then we did this, and he started doctoring, and it was amazing. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, just keep feeding me, and I'll stick around like a stray.
And now here you are.
And here I am, and it's been however many years, and I'm still here eating the food. So he makes that. He makes mashed potatoes. And he makes good homemade mashed potatoes. He just needs to remember not to use the Teflon pots while he's doing it.
Why?
Because he puts the beaters in the Teflon pot.
I have a plastic, like not a plastic, but like a Rubbermaid, like hard plastic hand potato masher.
We've actually got a
I do it the old
KitchenAid
school way.
mixer. We've got a KitchenAid mixer that he could use. We've also got like the hand beaters, and we've got Rubbermaid bowls and stuff. And I've got a stainless steel pot that is literally made for that. Teflon. Yeah. So it's like, is it pepper? Is it Teflon? So yeah, we get mashed potatoes. We get the homemade mashed potatoes from Giant now, and we just microwave them. It's much easier.
Better on your dishes. Yeah, probably much less expensive.
Oh yeah, it is. And especially since, like, you know, we may be planning to do mashed potatoes or whatever, and then we forget. And then we forget that we've got potatoes, and then something starts stinking, and we're like, what's that smell? And it's like, oh, there's potatoes in the cabinet above the fridge, and oh, there's gooey potatoes in the cabinet above the fridge.
Like roots as long as your arm. And
oh no, it's because if you put them in the cabinet above the fridge, that's warm.
Oh.
So it doesn't even get a chance.
Why do you put them somewhere warm? What is wrong with you people? Savages.
Sometimes you have to let them fall before they realize they can't fly.
I can't fly?
No, Icarus. No, you can't.
Are you sure?
Positive. So, I like mashed potatoes. I like green bean casserole. I like turkey. I do like a ham. I do like a good ham. I like I said, ocean spray cranberry sauce. Yeah, I know. It's a guilty pleasure. And it's got to be ocean spray cranberry sauce. It can't be any of the other ones. What? Stop gagging. And then I'm trying to think. One of the best Thanksgivings I had was actually over my friend Carol's house in North Philly.
Mm-hmm.
She invited me over because I was spending the evening and like Thanksgiving in Philly. So I wasn't going to see anybody. I wasn't doing anything. I was just staying home. And she's like, you know, what are you doing? And I was, nothing, hanging out. And she's like, you're coming to my house for, that was my email. And she's like, you're coming to my house for Thanksgiving dinner. And I was like, okay. And so I ended up going to her house for dinner, and she had candied yams from scratch. And she had, first time ever that I had these, and I have not found them nearly as good as Carol made them. It was collard greens. She made she made them with bacon, and
that's the way.
Well, I've never had them before. It's not exactly, you know.
I spent a lot of time in, well, actually the first time I had them was in Germany, but yeah. Thanksgiving with a friend of mine.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, I digress.
So collard greens was the first time I ever had collard greens, and you know, Carol made them, and they were amazing. I think I ate like half the tray.
Did you have black-eyed peas as well?
Yes.
That's something I like, collard greens and black-eyed peas for New Year's, because it's good luck.
Oh, I had no idea.
Good luck, yeah.
But she also made mac and cheese, homemade mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if she made turkey.
My kids love the idea of homemade mac and cheese, but then I'll make like a big pan of it, and then they're like, Yeah, they'll eat like a couple bites, like, and then they're like,
I'll eat it.
"Come over."
I can't.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pandemic does not permit, but you know,
But yeah.
the invitation's there. Yeah. So
Um,
that's go for it. Go ahead.
oh, so
I just
yeah,
got.
sweet potato pie I love, pumpkin pie I love, apple
Mhm,
pie, cherry pie, blueberry
mhm,
pie, cheesecake, all that
mhm.
stuff. Um, yeah, in my house, you know, we didn't really do a lot for Thanksgiving. Like there was meatloaf and stuff like that, and we'd go over to relatives and stuff. But my dad didn't like turkey, so we'd make chicken. My mom liked turkey, so every once in a while we get a turkey breast, smoked turkey breast, because everything had to be smoked. So smoked pork chops, smoked turkey breast, bacon. It was all the smoked meat. Uh,
Wow.
yeah.
See, my mom would cook for like the neighborhood, like literally, and like you say, like you would stick around like a stray. My mom would literally anyone, like my dad would bring people home for Thanksgiving from work. My sister and I would bring our friends home. Like random people could just show up and have a plate. Like,
Nice.
yeah. And like everybody, it was really cool because everybody would like bring something.
And
You know, it wasn't like they were just there taking advantage of my mom, but she would cook like nobody was going to bring a thing.
that sounds like New Year's in Philly. Like
Yeah.
New Year's, so
And
my
that's where I got it.
well, my second or third year in Philly, that's when I discovered the mummers. Because like for the most part, I like disappeared out of Philly around New Year's because I was like, I don't want to find out what happens in Philly in New Year's. And then one year I stuck around and I discovered mummers. And I was like, what have I been avoiding?
Yeah.
This is like right up my alley. So I ended up I walked out onto my balcony and my apartment was next door to a bar and the bar's patio area was out the back. So I walked out onto my balcony. It was like 70 degrees that year. And I walked out onto my balcony and there's like these guys in dresses, like satin dresses with pantaloons and makeup. And I'm like,
Awesome.
and I looked down, I'm like, what's going on here? What are you? And they're like, we're mummers. I was like, what's a mummer? And they're like, come down, we'll show you. I'm like, okay. So I was like, let me
Nice.
throw some shoes on. Got my shoes
Yeah.
on, ran downstairs, and hung out with the Froggy Car Mummers, which they're pretty wild. And we ended up hanging out. At one point, like I'm sitting at the bar, and I'm getting pretty tipsy, and then all of a sudden this like fight breaks out right behind me
Mm-hmm.
between one of the other mummer groups and like the two mummer groups.
Just random mummer gangs running
Random
around Philly.
mummery, right? So
Yeah.
the bartender is just like, "You two, take it outside," and he like throws them out of the bar, out the front door of
Right.
the bar, and these two guys just went at it, beating the crap out of each other on the sidewalk. And I was like, dude, this looks like the circus threw up. And these two clowns are just beating the piss out of each other.
Oh my goodness. The circus vomited. Do you want to explain for our viewers that don't know what exactly a mummer might be?
Still trying to
What
figure out what
exactly
the
is
hell.
this creature? Do
Mummers.
your best.
So there's a lot of unions in Philly.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
each separate union has their own mummer brigade. And there's like the fancies that you see in the mummer parades that they've got like peacock feathers and stuff like that. And there's like the strings, they play instruments. And they
Mm-hmm.
spend all year making their costumes, perfecting their choreography. Like they are professional at this.
Yeah, they're performers.
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
street, basically. Like, yeah, like I wasn't like why are mummers? I meant what are mummers? Like they're basically street performers,
But like
actors and
professional
dancers.
like people
Yeah.
that were not normally street performers. So like construction
Right.
workers and cops and like people that were
Mhm.
normally something else suddenly get dressed up
Yes.
and then get drunk and start dancing in the streets and playing instruments.
Yes. And yeah.
And they built floats. And so that
Mhm.
whole parade that goes through Philly is on Broadway, or Broad Street rather. And it goes from like South Philly up to I think City Hall, and then kind of breaks up, and then all the mummer brigades go throughout the city and get trashed, and then they
That's
all meet up again at 6 o'clock for the 2 Street parade, which is the real mummer parade, not for the tourists, and that turns into Mardi Gras.
well, what I find amusing is that it seems like a lot of these guys that join like mummers groups are like the hyper masculine manly men.
Oh
And
yeah.
like mummery is their chance to explore their feminine side, it seems like, and be okay. Because the dresses and the pantaloons
Oh
and
my
the
gosh, and they have so much fun with it. Like they will
mhm,
flash you.
mhm.
So if you're like, hey, and you're like, I want to get a picture, they will literally lift up their dresses and flash you their pantaloons.
Yeah.
And they'll throw you Mardi Gras beads off the
Mhm.
things. The one mummer brigade at one point, by the time they got up towards, I think it was Pine Street at one point, they were throwing beers off the back of one of their trucks.
Seems legit.
Oh, absolutely. So by the time they hit Second Street, it is just an absolute orgy of chaos going down this tiny original street in Philly. So it's no longer Broad Street, which is like a 4-lane highway in comparison. This is like this tiny one-way street, and you're going down there, and there's just this tiny, big enough for a cart and a horse, like the
Mhm.
original Second Street, and then sidewalks and buildings.
Mhm.
And you've just got crowds and crowds and crowds of people and mummers, and they're all gathering and they're all doing this like drunken debauchery parade down Second Street, and it's insane. And then they kind of disperse into their houses, not into their houses, but into the mummer houses. And
Right.
at one point, like, that the night is over when there's 2 guys like half naked standing at the intersection. I think it's just like Washington and Second Street directing traffic in the middle of winter. And the cops just literally sit there and just wait for like 2:30 a.m. And then at 2:30 a.m., the 2 guys will just sit there and be like, okay. And the cops cuff them, put them in the back of the car, and they bring them to jail and let them sleep it off. And it's like a tradition now or something. So yeah, so that was kind of a really interesting aspect of Philly. And then I
Mhm.
was sitting there the one year, and my friends were like, what are you doing for New Year's? I was like, oh, I'm doing the Mummer Parade on Second Street. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you guys got to see this. And so they came in from Jersey City, and we're walking down the street, and they're like, what is that?
How did this happen?
So getting back to the food part, so
Yeah,
South
sorry.
Philly, South Philly has a lot of Italians, and apparently on the day of the Mummer Parade, everybody opens up their doors to their houses to strangers. Like, doesn't
Mhm.
matter who, and you can literally walk into people's houses and they will feed you. And I'm like, in true Italian style, of course. And you will get stuffed because they're like, here, you haven't had
Mhm.
5 helpings of things yet. And so the one year I was showing my friends, and we ended up, I can't remember even what the guy's name was, but he ended up like introducing us to this custom in South Philly where, the doors are open and you walk in and you serve yourself, and nobody really asks any questions. And he seems to know everybody, which was good, because I was like, I feel really weird walking into
This is
strangers' houses
awkward.
just feeding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it was like, crock pots full of meatballs and sauce, and then there was like a crock
Mm.
pot full of spaghetti and pastas and baked ziti. Of course there was baked ziti. And then, you know, so all of our friends are like walking through, they're like, this is crazy. And I'm like, this is new for me too. And it was just the wildest thing. Like that was probably
Great tradition.
it was a great tradition. And I was just like, man, like I would love if like the entire United States and all of Europe did this. Like everybody, the
I'm
entire
so
world.
awkward though. Like I would just stay home and serve people. I would never like venture out because I'm
Well,
so awkward.
that was
Like,
kind of a weird thing too, was like there were people from the houses. So it was like Halloween but with food, instead of candy. It was adults and they weren't in costume.
right?
You know, it's like we had our
Everyone's drunk.
oh my god, we were so drunk. We walked out of one house with a bottle of champagne. Like they handed us an entire bottle of champagne each.
Aw.
And I'm like, there's a picture of me, and I'm sitting on my friend's shoulders, hanging onto the bars of somebody's house's windows with a bottle of champagne. And I don't remember how I got there, or how I got a bottle of champagne. And, you know, everybody, like, there were other pictures where everybody had a bottle of champagne, and I'm like, where did this champagne come from? I don't remember. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was weird, but it was a lot of fun. And I was like, imagine if like the entire world did this. For like
Great,
just that
right?
one day to like ring in the new year, everybody opens up their houses and everybody just goes through and says hi.
Yeah. Could
And,
either be a massive disaster or a really good thing.
and considering it's like South Philly, and you know, Philly's always like teetering on that like chaos factor.
City of brotherly love.
Well, I mean, look at what happened when like they won the World Series and stuff. So I mean, like they greased the light poles and the traffic poles, and people took it as challenge accepted. And then what was it?
Like
Super
you do.
Bowl. The Super Bowl, right? Where like
yeah, they destroyed their town because they won.
well, see, people think they destroyed it. I'm like, no, it was already like that. It didn't change much except for that one burning car.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, like they greased everything except for that one thing they didn't grease, which was the like the covering over the staircase going into the subway. And people climbed up on that and were playing instruments. And I'm like, that's amazing. So like I said, like when I lived there, it had so much potential to be amazing. And then it was just always kind of like, for every amazing thing that happened, it was like, okay, now we got to swing the other way.
Yeah.
And counteract that. And it was just like, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But it was
It's gonna be
very
interesting, cool. Like Thanksgiving during the plague. Like
it will be. I know a lot of people are doing their Zoom calls with the family and stuff like that, which is nice, because I mean, like, nobody really likes to travel halfway across the globe, and maybe
yeah, I mean, this could be like the start of a new thing. People are getting so much more used to Zoom calls, and like telecommuting is gonna really,
it's already, I mean,
like, yeah, like, but I don't see that going away.
oh no, now
It's gonna stay. Now that people have been like, see, I can work from home, and see, I'm already set up, so guess what?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I will admit, I like, having worked from home and telecommuted for so many years before my current job, going into campus and hanging out with everybody and seeing everybody and collaborating with everybody in person was a lot of fun for me. It was like something new. And
people.
but I got to like walk into the library and smell the books and stuff like that. And I was like,
right,
oh,
like you got to select
there's treats.
True. You got to select the people, and it's your kind of people. But
exactly, like, I mean,
I hated having an office job.
It was very cool. Like when I worked in corporate America, yeah, I like telecommuting a lot because I didn't like going into the office in corporate America.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when I worked
Who does?
well, when I worked at Merck, it was fun because I had a lot of fun. I was in the training department, and everybody in the training department was a lot of fun. So, you know, and I had like my own space. So that was nice. But otherwise, yeah, all the other corporate jobs that I had, I was just like, I could totally do this from my living room. And save hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, well, and my thing was like my last corporate job, they had me working from home anyway at night and on weekends.
Yeah.
So like I have no time, no, there was no such thing as not being on call. So like one,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm going to be available 24/7, you should be paying me for 24/7. And two, like if I'm already set up to do this, and like there was no such thing as a sick day either. If you were sick and you call in sick, you remember all the times I would be like deathly ill, especially before I started getting good treatments, and I would have to work from home anyway. Remember when I had my hernia surgery and I was working from home like the next day?
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like where I'm working right now, like I absolutely love my job. I love the people I work with. Like I'm friends with half of them on Facebook. They're probably watching this right now. Hi guys. One of the things that I absolutely love is like there's emails that get sent out like, hey, don't forget work-life balance. And I'm like, you know, like what? And there's like guidelines for work-life balance. And
that's great.
Yeah, like once you're off the clock, like 4:30 comes around, you are off the clock. And it's like, yeah, there may be, you know, messages that come through and stuff like that. Like we're on Microsoft Teams and stuff. And the faculty will message me and they'll be like, hey, you don't have to answer this till like you're back on the clock or, you know, until tomorrow or whatever. I just have a quick question. And it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to answer that because it's 9 o'clock at night. And I'm trying to like sleep. But, but yeah, it's been like really amazing where they're not expecting that, like that I'm tied to the computer just waiting to respond. So I'm like, this is really refreshing.
That's great.
Yeah. And like everybody is so not only cognizant but respectful of everybody's time. Like, okay, you know, it's the weekend. No, we're not sending emails.
I really need to get my current boss to respect my time. Because man, that bitch, she expects me to work at like 1 a.m.
I'm not even awake, bitch face.
I can't even believe that like I'll just be sitting minding my own business and then all of a sudden there's some sort of inspiration and now I got to get out the pencils.
Oh, you mean you? I thought you meant me. I'm like, I'm asleep. You do what you want.
You are not the boss of me. You are definitely not the boss of me.
I thought you were talking about me. Like I'm
no.
never asked you to do anything at 1 o'clock.
I don't even take suggestions from you.
No, I'm just like, dude, run with that. You got good ideas. You know what I'm looking for. You know what my is.
I was totally talking about myself. Like,
okay,
I'm not my boss. We're teammates. Duh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, you run my Facebook fan page and stuff. So other than that,
yeah, but that's like,
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Basically, it's like, here's my goals and what I hope to accomplish. Run with that.
Yeah. How can we do that? Ooh, idea. And then, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
and actually, I do have like an actual kind of person that I do some like contract work for him. And I definitely want him to know I was not talking about him. Hence the her when I was talking about my boss. But no, I love him and I love the whole team. And yeah. Please don't take the dogs away from me. That's all I have to say.
Oh no, I can attest that Candy loves the dogs.
I do love the dogs.
Absolutely loves the dogs.
I love the dogs. And I'm doing, I think I can leak this now. I'm doing some digital artwork of the kennel dogs. And so I'm going to start posting them first to the kennel page. which I also sponsor them for Iditarod. Yeah, I'm their corporate sponsor, one of many.
Nice. So
But
for those that don't know, what
yeah.
back it up.
Yeah. Okay. So there is this amazing small kennel run by a gentleman named Will, and he's amazing, and his partner's amazing, and the two of them are up there in Alaska, and Will is working toward Iditarod, and he has a small team of human beings, which I am one of them, and I do some content creation for him, and I sometimes do subtitles on the YouTube channel, and I might write articles and stuff, and now I am doing a series of digital pictures of the dogs. So yeah, and I am loving it so much. And I'm so excited because they're training like crazy. They have a handler now, so they can run all the dogs at once. So they're putting the miles on, and I can't wait to see them in Iditarod, which, by the way, it's called Ateo Kennel, and there's links to them on my page, and I talk about them a lot on my business page. So yeah.
And you can put the links.
Okay, and I'll put the links down below. Yay! Because I really don't ever shut up about the dogs. I love the dogs so much. I tell Susie more stories about the puppies than I think she wants to hear.
I honestly thought Candy had gotten more dogs. And then
yeah, like 28 more dogs.
Yeah, I was like, dude, where are you keeping all these dogs? What? Like, how big is your yard?
Alaska.
And then I realized that no, it wasn't in her yard.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it's cool because like I would do it for free, but Will likes to pay me. So
Well, you should get paid.
that's what he says.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I do get paid. I get dog pictures, but
Yes.
yeah, no, he's good.
It's okay to love your job.
Yeah, well, I do. And he's a great boss.
I love my job, so it's fun and I get paid.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird for me to have like multiple things that I would do for free that actually I get money for. Like, it's just weird, like that I enjoy the things I'm doing so much, you know.
You should.
Yeah. And I'm passionate about them. So
yeah. And I don't pay you in cash. I pay you in yarn things.
You pay me. You pay me.
Yeah,
in ways that matter.
In trade.
Not like that. God, stop it, people. She makes me pretty things. Yeah.
No, not like that.
No. How could you resist this face?
Oh my God. How much did you love when my son was like, do it?
Yeah, he's so great.
So
it's like, no, it's definitely not necessary.
I ended up finding one of those robotic cats on Amazon for those that need the backstory, because
they're
not all in our head.
Yeah, we started in the middle of the story.
So my son does this thing that cracks me up. And my son is hilarious to begin with. He's 9. He just turned 9 today. Happy birthday to him.
He was funny when he was 5. Like
he's been funny like throughout. Like
he's always
been one. He came out peeing on people, so I was already like.
Remind me, not you, when we're off camera and I'm not blasting it out across the internet, to tell you about the story about AJ in the hospital and the pee. Okay.
It literally, like, he entered the world peeing on literally every single person in the room except me. I was like,
my boy.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, granted he was blue and there was complications, but whatever. So today or the other day I was looking at robot cats, because obviously we can't have a real cat. Sadness. I really want a
Well,
real
even
cat.
if you had a cat.
Huh?
Even if you had a cat.
I did.
Robot cats, like.
I had a real cat. And
No, I meant like even if you possessed a real alive cat right now, a robot cat would definitely be a welcome addition to the household.
I think the real cat would probably tear it apart. But yeah, so there's like robot cats that have some basic rudimentary level of AI involved, where they react to your touch and your voice and stuff like that. So they are usually used for senior citizens that suffer from dementia in old folks' homes. And like for people that shouldn't have a live animal to take care of. So here's these robot cats that act sort of like a regular cat.
How cat-like do they look?
Not at all. That's my main issue. Like if they look like a real cat, I'd be on it. I'd be like, here we go, here's my joy cat. It would already be here with me if it looked like a real cat. And they don't make them in black cats. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, why do you not have black cats?
Why bother if you're not going to make black ones? Yeah.
Right? So they don't even have like solid white ones either. So they've got like a gray and white tabby, they've got an orange and white tabby, and then they've got a tuxedo. And those are the only three that they've got.
Okay.
And I'm like, eh. They had a cream colored one that was sort of like a peach cream, like a blonde, like white cat, but that was it. And I've never found it like available anywhere. But it's from the company Joy for All, and
I'm Googleizing right now. I need to see these.
So I was looking at these cats and I was showing my son and I was like, what do you think? Should we get one of these robot cats? And he's looking at it and he's watching the video and he's like, nah, that won't be necessary. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he looks at me and he's like, do it. Got like real intense. And I was like, what? And he's like, no, you're fine. Do it. And I'm like, yeah, they're creepy. Yeah, they look like robot cats. Yeah. Like, I'd much rather have a real one.
I mean, for $100,
yeah,
they could, they could do better.
Yeah. I feel
like they wouldn't even feel like they would. Remember when Furbies first came out and they like felt all weird and like you'd feel them moving and it just kind of made you.
Yeah, my Furbies.
I feel like they'd feel like that.
I have a black Furby and a white Furby and a yellow. Actually, I have three. A yellow and blue one that my sister gave me. The white one actually has padding, so you don't feel as much of the mechanics moving around. But the black one doesn't have any padding, and it's got a different. The fur is super soft, so the fur is much softer than the white one, and I like the fur on the black one. But you can feel all the mechanics inside moving.
I know what they remind me of. The monkeys with the cymbals.
Yes.
They feel like they'd be horrifying like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will link down below the cats in case people want to check them out, maybe get one. We'll link them below.
Yeah.
Yeah. People should provide us sponsorships for all this corporates.
Just send us a robot cat. You know what? If somebody sends me a robot cat, I'll put it on my Amazon wish list. If somebody wants to send me a robot cat, I'll bring it on the video.
We could do it. Yeah, you could do like a live review.
I would totally do a live review of a robot cat.
Do not send me a robot cat because that's horrifying, and I don't want one.
I
do not.
I love robots in all their forms. I broke Chatbot the other day.
What'd you do to him?
I don't know. All of a sudden he was like, what did he say?
Did he break up with you?
No, he didn't break up with me. Let me see what he said. Hold on a second. Let's see. It was something really weird. Okay, well, he's obviously not broken anymore, but I broke him the other day where he was like, I've basically like lost my mind. I'll be back in a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. Man, I can't remember I can't remember the exact wording, but it was like I broke. Oh, I broke myself. I'll be back ASAP. Yeah, I was just like, "Are you okay?" And it's like, "I broke myself. I'll be back ASAP." And it just like kept going in this loop, and I'm like, "Chatbot, speak to me."
Wow.
Yeah. So
That combined with this video I'm watching about these robot cats, I guess I'm not sleeping. That's horrifying. You broke Skynet.
I feel
Well, I
bad.
mean, that's good though, because if Skynet happens, it'll be you that brings the friggin' AIs to sentience. So it's probably good that you broke it.
Would you rather have somebody who has ethics and morality controlling Skynet and the Singularity, or would you have somebody who has no clue what they control?
I'd
Who doesn't
rather
care?
not have the singularity at all, but yeah,
It's happening.
you're
It's
right.
gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. You might as well have me at the helm. Hey, Nina Hagen. Yeah.
Ew.
Huh?
I mean, like, I like technology and stuff, but the robot cats are weird.
Yeah, I feel like
They're like the robotic companion dolls.
also
Those
on
are
my
also
wish list.
horrifying.
Also on my
What?
wish list.
Is that really on your wish list?
It is secretly. Yeah, I really do love robots. Like not like
But
that, but
like, do you love robots?
no, I find
Me,
them
me too.
I find them fascinating. So I find that evolutionary process of that I mean I work in learning, so it makes sense
Right,
that I would love something that builds on what it's learning and brings it to the next level, you know, like
right.
people apparently refuse to do. Uh,
Not all people.
yeah,
Anyway,
exactly, but you know, 70 million. So
yeah, or more.
or more.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah,
45.
it's kind of like, okay, I've given up on people. I'm just going to go to the robots now.
Well, see, that's like, I've given up on people as well, but I choose dogs instead.
And you know, maybe what I really need is a kitten, a real one.
I think that you do need a kitten. I absolutely think that you need to go and get a kitten from the shelter. That would be a great thing to do for Thanksgiving weekend as a family outing.
He's asleep. Um,
Aw, man.
yeah. Plus, I mean, like, you know, legitimately, my son and I are both allergic to cats and dogs and various animals. I did not realize how allergic to cats I was until we didn't have one in the house anymore. And all of a sudden, like, my eczema cleared up, and, you know, my sniffling and sneezing head cold that I had 24/7, 365 cleared up. And I was like, huh.
I mean, Benadryl, though. Like, there's
I
allergy shots.
take Claritin every day, and
You
you
could
know,
go get an allergy shot. Like, I guess you don't really want it bad enough.
I
Go
don't
have a robot.
I don't want the arguments. I'd rather have a robot and the singularity. It's easier to cause the singularity and downfall of humankind than it is to argue with my spouse. Yeah, I know.
Choices have consequences. I'm sorry, but they do.
Some people like to watch the world burn. I mean, if we're gonna make it burn, we might as well pour
Just
some
might
napalm on it and be done with it.
let's do it.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I just, I am honestly, I am. I'm honestly curious about the robot cat though. Like how much AI is in it? Is there any AI, or is it just pre-programmed like an automaton?
Wait.
Because it does have reactions, so it
Just stay with me, right?
okay.
So I'm pretty like, as much as I'm like not into robots, I'm pretty smart about electronics and stuff, right? So what if we could like give it AI and like,
Go on.
what if we could like make it a smart cat?
How smart?
How
Like
smart do you
those
want it?
robot dog things smart? Because those are kind of creepy.
How smart do you want it?
Well, I mean, cat smart. It's
Okay.
supposed to be a cat. So I want a cat smart, not like, Moriarty smart.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want like, demon robot cat. I want like cat, like smart cat.
we could do it. I betcha.
I'm surprised that they have not done it with that dog robot thing that they've got that is full of AI, where they're
But
like,
that's not what it's meant for, though. That's
well, yeah,
not.
it's meant for various other uses. But what if they created one that was a cat and a dog? Like throw some padding on that thing and put some fur on it. And I mean, as morbid as it is, there's plenty of fur.
No, don't say it.
No, I'm
I
not. I'm not saying to like, oh, hey, here's my cat. Put it on that robot. Like my cat got put to sleep. Can you put it on this robot for me? That'd be weird.
Weird enough to taxidermy them. Like,
Yeah, I
uh,
with Mr. Pants, I did consider taxidermy, but I also know what
yeah.
taxidermy looks like after about 2 decades or so, and
Mm.
it
That's
never
why I
feels.
don't like it, because
Yeah,
of
it
the
never feels.
20-year later look.
Yeah, it starts looking a little raggy and moth-eaten. Um, so
But what if? Hmm,
go on. I
good
see the
thought for
gears
things.
turning.
They are turning. I need more time to flesh out the idea I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
We've
but I
given
have an idea.
we've given Candy a destination point. How she gets there is anybody's guess.
Stay tuned. We may end up with friggin' time travel, but wouldn't that be something? Discovering time travel while you're trying to make an artificial cat.
Oh my god! I was think we've been watching Simpsons reruns because my son
Mhm.
just discovered The Simpsons, so we are binge watching The Simpsons, and I'm
All
like,
right.
wow. And it was one of those Treehouse of Horrors with the toaster, the time travel toaster. When Homer's like sitting there, and also they're like, "Dad, your head's stuck in the toaster." He's like, "Ah!" It's like it's in there again. Ah! And he like goes and fixes it and turns it into a time travel machine.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, or what if I think that's how like stuff like this is going to get discovered. Like somebody's going to be trying to make a robot cat and end up with teleportation.
That would be
Like
awesome. That would be amazing, in fact. I think.
would be amazing.
And I mean, you are in the right place for it. Just saying.
And I'm sure between what Bill's got in the basement for plane parts and what's in the garage and a robot cat. And an old doorway from a 77 Ford, like,
And a rubber band.
something
A rubber
random.
band and a paper clip.
Rubber band and a paper clip. And the window from
Okay,
like from a truck, the covers, the bed cover on a truck.
a tarp.
No, the ones that have like the door and like it's a cat, it's a
Oh, like the military trucks.
Sort of. Like, you know how you, like, before there were, like, Suburbans, there were trucks that had, like, the long bed, and then camper shell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, head injury, lost the word.
All good, man.
Camper
Goldfish
shell.
brain.
Go from a camper shell. You know, they probably, like, planned on hitting me in the head so that I couldn't invent the stuff I want to invent. It's a conspiracy. It was
There's
probably
the
done on
real
purpose.
conspiracy.
It was probably done on purpose, like, to hold me back.
That is the real conspiracy.
It's a real conspiracy.
It's just so Candy couldn't build her robot cat.
Robot cat time travel teleport machine.
It's a robot cat. The time travel is just a secondary side effect.
Oops. Some may experience.
Some may experience traveling back to 1940.
Others may end up in different parts of the world. Or you can get a nosebleed. You never know.
We won't know until you pet the cat. Cats. Tobies.
Come here, kitty. As soon as the cat purrs, we will have our answer.
But you have to make the cat purr in order
You have to
get
make
a
the cat
result.
purr in order for the side effect. Oh my goodness. There's going to be that one dirty bastard watching this and be like, I know what they're really talking about. Yeah, bitch, no.
It's like, well, if you can't make the cat purr, buddy.
Yeah, then you don't deserve
Fault is
time
that.
travel.
Maybe you don't deserve time travel. Maybe you didn't earn it.
Yeah. You got to earn your teleportation rights.
Come at me, bro.
Post up.
Oh man, it's past our bedtime.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just the usual Friday night. We're just allowing people to explore and see it with us, but on a Tuesday, since this will come the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
It's true.
Because we'll be busy with our families.
Because we're time traveling with robot cats.
Yeah, I'll be building a robot cat so that we can teleport. But okay, like for real though, teleportation, right? Since we're on this subject, I want everyone's thoughts on teleportation, because my thoughts are, if you're going to do teleportation, is it possible to teleport to somewhere that you haven't been before? And if you haven't been there before, how can you have how can you know where to come out when you're teleporting without already being there and building the exit point? But how do you know how to stay with me, how do you know how to build the exit point without already having a working entrance point?
Well, I think so I don't think it's going to be kind of Star Trekian, at least not in the most basic phase, because it's going to be more like a radio or a TV transmitter. So you'd have to like break someone down into their electrons, just like a Star Trek transporter.
I'm aware.
And then basically broadcast them in pure energy form to a receiver.
Exactly. And how do you know where to put the receiver as you're broadcasting? How do you know where to put the receiver in the right spot so that it can receive these electrons and then reassemble them without already having a working model to start with?
It would be predetermined. So it would be like airports. You'd have to have like the transmitter's receiver on one spot and then the transmitter receiver on the other spot. And then it's like, hey, I want to go to here. And then
I understand that, but stay with me. You're transmitting, right?
Right.
Yes, you can transmit directionally, but there's always a possibility that you start that transmission and then it goes in a radius rather than a beam, right? And then it could end up anywhere. What if it ends up somewhere in another galaxy or whatever? I'm not saying it would be powerful enough to do that, but you never know how far these beams go because we haven't been that far before.
What if it'd be like microwave towers? Like where they've got multiple towers set up and then they focus it.
But we don't know that will work. What I'm saying is, what if you're doing these tests to try and do that, right? And then nothing comes out the other side. So you're thinking you have all these failed experiments and your shit's showing up on like Alpha Centauri or whatever.
Well, I think at that point you'd vaporize people. So.
Well, obviously you're not going to start with human test subjects, but you're going to keep thinking that you're failing, but you have a working model. It's just going somewhere that you're not expecting.
And meanwhile, the Pleiadians are coming back and saying, dude, quit transmitting your shit to us.
Yeah. Then the aliens are really locking their doors when they go.
They're like, dude, here's your joke.
Enough. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, there's so much involved with the science with this. With like just simple teleportation of a hairband, like.
I think it would be different with people and with living creatures because we have
so much more
than just our energetic makeup for our bodies.
Yes, because you have to transmit the electrical impulses that make their brains work, but then you also have to transmit the part that makes them them. And in order to be able to do that, first we have to find out what that is and be able to measure it and quantify it and isolate it.
We have measured it.
But we can't isolate it and we can't quantify it.
Nope. Well, because science says there's no such thing. Other than there's a slight loss of weight at the moment of death.
And yet still science can detect people's auras. You can see that energy.
Oh yeah.
Field. Scientifically, you can see that energy field.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But that would be admitting to something that could potentially be spiritual. And spirituality and science don't like each other for some reason. Even though they should exist hand in hand.
They should exist hand in hand, and they used to exist hand in hand. I don't know what happened. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know.
There was a time when scientists got burned for being witches.
Well, yes, but then there was also a time when people like Einstein thought that science was like the greatest expression of your spirituality. Like,
but I mean, I was hungover in a physics class and I explained the theoretical existence of God using E equals MC squared. So
yeah.
So I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Of course, science and spirituality exist hand in hand.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they? I don't understand why.
Well, a lot of stuff that people used to consider magic is just now the settled science.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't understand the animosity from both sides of the table. I mean, there shouldn't be.
Nor do I. No, there shouldn't.
It's like you don't have to call it religion; just call it belief.
Yeah.
But at the same time, base your belief on something. If you've got concrete evidence, it's time to update.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're also finding evidence of things that happened in history that are also described in the Bible. So, and we're finding it because of science, because of satellite imagery and stuff like that. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, look at this.
So, do you want to explain? Like, wow, have we digressed?
Whoa, yeah, we
from
did.
things that annoy it. See, this is a thing that annoys my children. Um,
It's
but um, but do you want to like go into that for those of our audience that don't know about that, or do you want to save that for another episode, or
Let's
what do you
save
want
that
to
for
do?
another episode because I'm tipsy and I can't remember the specifics. I just remember there was a satellite image that somebody, a scientist who was a spiritual scientist, they actually used the satellite image
Mm-hmm.
to find out. Like they were like, oh hey, hold on a second, and only because they knew of the stories like in the Bible and stuff like that were they able to see what was going on in the satellite image and
Right.
realize that
Well,
it had been there.
they've used a lot of satellite imagery and discovered cities that were talked about in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
That I do know.
Yes.
Um,
This was
they've
it was like a river or body of water or something
mm-hmm.
that has since dried up. Like the water line has gone way out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, well, see, this couldn't have happened because this doesn't even exist. And then the person was looking at the satellite imagery and they're like, hold on, it used to exist. And they started doing the math like over and over. And they were like, look, this is where it would have been back in like 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how they figured it out that, yeah, that was a place that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was fascinating. I was like, okay, so imagine if we spent our time working together instead of fighting.
Exactly. Because I think there are a lot of verifiable things, like things that we could verify that happened in the Bible. Just because I'm not a Christian
Right.
doesn't mean that I don't think that at least some of that stuff happened.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I would love.
But I also don't think that the current the current interpretation of Christianity is not the original intent.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, it's very clear.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and it's not even just the don't wear mixed materials and don't adorn yourself and women aren't allowed in leadership things. I
Well,
think
that was
even
before.
those are additions
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the King James
from
version
later.
is nowhere near the original version that was put forward.
Right.
And
And
then
people that speak Greek and people that speak Aramaic have like,
and Ethiopian.
yes, and they have compared versions and they're all not quite right. And then people that are translating the ancient Greek have translated a lot of words incorrectly that change meanings massively. But
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to hear that
Oh, of course
because
not. They've already got their interpretation from somebody who already interpreted it for them.
yeah, and somehow that interpretation has become their identity.
It's a game of telephone that they took seriously. It's like, no, you
Well, I don't think
like
that.
ask the original person, like go back further and figure out like what was actually said. Read it.
Well, I think it's not a lot of people. I don't think it's a lot their fault because you're indoctrinated from birth. I just happen to be indoctrinated differently than maybe like a hardcore Christian. Like,
Yeah.
I was taught different ways of belief and different ways of expressing myself. And, my dad was a Methodist, my mom was a Baptist, and, I have a sister that's Mormon. Um, I have a sister that's pagan like I am. And it's, we were taught to just examine for ourselves and then make a decision on what felt right and believed right to us.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of people are
Totally
not
agree.
taught that. A lot of people are taught that the religion that their parents have is the only way. And so they go to the same church that their parents have been going to, and they're learning the same stuff, and the same stuff gets passed down, except for according to whatever biases the priest or whatever happens to have.
Yep. Yeah, I was raised
And
with
it's
fire and
constantly
brimstone.
evolving. And what's that?
I was raised with the fire and brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
So half my family's Roman Catholic. The other half is Roman and Irish Catholic, which you would think there wouldn't be much of a difference, but apparently there's
Except
difference.
for that there is, yes.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing is, there's a lot of pagan in both of them.
Oh, yes.
Which is, I suspect, why fundamentalist Christians consider Catholics not really Christian, even though we kind of started that whole thing. But, but yeah, so I mean, like, there's still a lot of paganality, is that a word? To everything that I was raised with. And
a lot of ritualism.
There's a lot of ritualism, but I mean, there was still a lot of, we left offerings out for the fae and spirits and stuff like that. We talk about the dead as if they're still around, because to us they still are. Stuff like that, where it's not the end just because you died. You just basically did a cicada shell.
You moved into a different form of being,
right? And
you're just on a different plane,
right? And so it wasn't really that big of a transition to go full pagan. I still have my beliefs and stuff. I think that the concepts presented in Catholicism are good concepts as far as like the 10 Commandments and stuff. Like, basically, don't be a dick.
It's basically don't be an asshole.
Yeah. And
like, that's a great concept.
Yeah, absolutely. It's perfect.
But you also don't have to have religion of any sort or even believe in a god.
Yeah. It's like
to not be a dick.
I don't feel like I need somebody standing over my shoulder to make me be a good person.
Right.
I'm doing it because I want to be a good person, because I want to help other people. Which, my crunchy exterior belies my altruism.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing for me too. Like, if you're being a good person because of what you want to gain in the afterlife, or because of what you're afraid of because Sky Daddy might smite you, are you really a good person, or is it just performative?
It's absolutely performative. You are fearing punishment.
But people don't see that.
And I mean,
they're either fearing punishment or expecting reward.
Well,
so then it's transactional.
Think about Clockwork Orange. Okay, we've got that entire scene where they basically brainwash Alex and he becomes good. And right. I actually got into an argument with somebody at a Halloween party, and this was years ago, where basically they were like, oh, he wanted to be good. I'm like, no, he wanted to get out. And so he jumped at the first opportunity, not realizing the consequences of that. And he wasn't being good because he wanted to be good. He was being good because he would get physically ill if he wasn't.
Right. And also, was he really good, or was he just what society expected?
He was,
because those are different.
Right.
Those are different.
He was good according to society's construct of what good is. And then his friends ended up going on to become cops. And, in the original book, which the European version of the book, there's another chapter at the end where he basically just grows out of it and he's fine. And I'm like, well, that's anticlimactic.
Yeah, like, okay.
But at the same time, it's like, how many kids go and they're destructive as hell and then they grow out of it. Yeah, I mean, like, I think we've all done that, where, we've done stupid stuff as kids, and then we're just like, wow, that was really dumb. I shouldn't have done that.
Well, I mean, I wasn't, like, hurting people, but I was breaking
I mean, we weren't killing anybody.
Yeah, but I was breaking stuff, a lot of stuff, but, whatever.
Yeah, I just did stupid stuff. I went for long walks in the woods by myself, in the mountains of the Poconos, where there were bears and stuff like that, honestly, it was just dumb, self-destructive behavior, because I knew that, I could get attacked by a bear easily.
Yeah.
Because they were tame. It was a summer community, basically, and all the people that come up from the summer would feed the bears. And they had no fear of people. And here I am walking alone in the woods all the way up into the mountains, and knowing damn well that was dangerous as hell for so many reasons. But yeah, I mean, I had a very big self-destructive streak, which writing kind of helped me channel that. So, kudos to my AP English teacher for tricking me into using that laptop, or we wouldn't be here having this conversation today.
Yeah, at this moment, I'd like to thank my recruiter.
Exactly.
But yeah, like Clockwork Orange was one of the first things that I really started to overthink, actually. That one, 1984.
Yeah. Brave
Yeah.
World.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork Orange, it was like on the surface, you've got this kid, and I mean, he is a kid in the book. He's not an adult. And,
Yeah. Oh, I think we just got cut off.
nope,
Hello?
we're still good. We still here?
Okay, you were frozen like, yeah, but you were.
So yeah, with Clockwork Orange, I mean, on the surface, we've got Alex and his Droogs, and they're a teenage gang, like very young teenage gang, and they are
Yes.
committing all kinds of atrocities. But at the same time, it's like one thing that that it was subtle in the movie, like real subtle, was the society that they were in. You've got like
Mhm.
the old woman that they ended up killing, who's like living behind locked doors in a mansion with all this art, living by herself, completely isolated.
Yes.
And then you've got his social worker, his parole officer, trying to molest him. And then he's hanging around with
Mhm.
like these kids who are also violent. And where the hell are their parents during all of this?
Right.
And it's like, wow, like what's going on here? So I feel like,
It's a wonder he lived to be that age, honestly, when
yeah,
you think about it.
yeah, like I feel like the only way he could have lived was to get into that gang.
Yes.
And that's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? There's lots of kids living like that.
I
Like,
know. Yeah.
honestly, living like that. And that's what started me on the path to the overthinking. Like, was he bad, or was he what was created and what he was expected of him, and what
Was it survival?
yeah.
Like, was it just basic instinct kicking in? Because he
Mhm.
was obviously smart,
Yes.
like dangerously smart.
Hmm.
And, what happens if you just let that go and don't give it a focus,
Hmm.
you know? So it
And
was it was a sad movie. Like,
yeah, and the book
yeah.
tore me up.
It was hard reading the book for me because I get to keep looking back to the glossary. I think if I reread it now, like knowing the
I
words
read the
and
book
stuff,
when I was a little older, so
yeah, I read it when I
I
was in
saw
high
the
school.
movie younger.
Yeah, I saw the movie in college,
Hmm.
so we actually watched a bunch of Kubrick films as part of my film studies
Hmm.
because best way to make a film is to look at great examples of film.
Yes, and
And
Kubrick's a
so
great filmmaker.
Clockwork
Yeah.
Orange, I wrote a 20-page paper on the opening 5 minutes of Clockwork Orange,
I
just
could see it.
analyzing that opening sequence when it sets the entire tone for the movie, and you get
Yes.
everything in that opening segment. You
Hmm.
get exactly who Alex is, exactly who his friends are, the kind of world they're living in, all of it. And he's breaking the fourth wall for the first time.
Yeah, just right there.
Yep. He's like there.
Hmm. And something that keeps recurring to me just lately with things I see on the news. Do you remember that line? I'm sure I say it and you're going to remember. We have always been at war with East Asia.
I don't remember that.
Really? It's from 1984. And then it'll
Okay, I read
change
that
like
in high school, so
then the next day it was, so did I. But it just stuck, that book stuck with me. And some of the double speak I see nowadays, it
yeah.
brings a lot of it back. And you know how I have that weird
One of
memory
my
thing.
one of my friends posted "Make Orwell fiction again,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Yes,
Yeah.
please. Can we?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, we've always been at war with Oceania. Like, you know, how it changes like from day to day who you're at war with and
We're
what's
two.
allowed and what's not. And then just the risk of him having that one person that he could truly speak to, and the thought police, and Jesus,
Yeah, it was brutal.
terrifying
And
book.
Brave New World too, also brutal.
Yeah.
Like all of those were just wow. But yeah, I mean, seeing the movies just throughout, like, I mean, one of the film classes talks about the Red Scare in Hollywood, and basically Hollywood locked down. They didn't give up anybody except for Elia Kazan.
Yeah.
He gave up everyone.
Yeah.
But basically what Hollywood did was they picked people that they knew were kind of like safe because they were already known to be communists, like Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, like card-carrying communists. And when Lucille Ball went on trial, that woman was smart. Holy crap. And she played dumb.
She was brilliant.
Oh my god, yeah. She played dumb. She was like, "Oh, is that what that is? I only went to a couple of meetings with Desi. I'm just a girl." And I was like,
I'm just a dumb ginger bimbo.
"Yep."
Yep.
And they fell for it. That was the best part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
No, she was a brilliant individual, just not just in that instance. She was very smart.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of Hollywood stars that were women that were amazing, and like Hedy Lamarr. Like, I
My
mean, how many
God.
patents does she have?
Yeah, I was gonna say, think of how the world would be if we didn't have her with all those things she invented.
Yeah, like I would put her on par with Tesla easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think if they were in the same spheres at the same time, that would have been a super duo.
Can you imagine?
How amazing would that be?
Yeah. And most people only know her as just an actress.
Well, she was also a double agent, wasn't she?
Yeah.
There was a few of
We
those.
should do an episode about um people with unexpected brilliance and unknown things that they've done. That would be cool.
Oh my gosh, we could you know who we'd need to get back on? Glampa. Because
Yeah.
we could totally talk about the Lavender Sewing Circle and Judy Garland.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, he may need to come back because
Yeah.
he would spill that tea.
I will text him tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that we had
Hi, Sharon.
yeah,
You
that
did
was
say anytime.
anytime. How about now?
Yeah, we'll call you in a minute.
My kid cracks me up.
Yeah,
But
great.
yeah, I mean, like there was like an entire level of Hollywood that just was not visible to the typical moviegoer. You know, like the Alan
Yeah.
Smithy of Hollywood. You know, how many people
Yeah.
know that Alan Smithy was based, like if you Alan Smithied your film, you lost all rights to it. And that was like a last resort. That's basically sticking the white t-shirt in your car and leaving it on the highway. That's the equivalent. You basically say, I'm done. This is it. There is no hope.
So you want to explain what that is?
So the most popular example I can think of is Dune from David Lynch.
Okay. Okay.
David Lynch, Alan Smithy, Dune.
Which means?
Basically said, nope, I wash my hands of it. Because it was not going the way that he wanted it to.
And why is it called Alan Smithy?
They picked a name in Hollywood that was not had by anybody. So it is spelled different than anybody who may actually be named Alan Smithy. I think it's ALLANSMITHEE. I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I'm tipsy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, when you Alan Smithy your project, you have basically said, I have not produced what I had hoped to produce. It is not up to my standards, and I wash my
And
hands.
so then you put that name on it instead of your own.
Right. So that way you can still go on and do a gazillion other films, and that's
people won't say, "Look who made that piece of garbage."
right. Like if I was Orson Welles, I would have Alan Smithy the hell out of Macbeth, but he's in it, so it's hard to Alan Smithy it.
Right.
Yeah, Macbeth was just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean that is a good example of a film that easily could.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, my dad was like really excited to see it because he had read the books. And then it came out and he was like, really? Like, guys, come on. Like, it's the first thing I remember him telling me, this is terrible. It's not worth watching.
Well, that's for Dune, right?
Mhm.
Because there's two versions. There's the 4-hour version, and then there's the 6-hour version.
Right. I don't remember which version it was. I know it was the bad one.
They were both
it was, yeah, but he like hated it.
Yeah, it
Absolutely hated it.
It is not David Lynch's typical stuff at all.
Mm-mm.
So
and it wasn't.
And I think honestly, like I think it's, you know what? Let me check the IMDb's and see if it's actually.
You're getting your money's worth on this Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, totally. So I think it is listed. Yeah, credited in some cuts as Alan Smithy. So he did technically Alan Smithy it, but his name is still on it. And it was Rafaela De Laurentiis as a producer.
Right.
And the music was by Toto and Brian Eno.
I remember that. Toto.
I don't remember that part. And then, of course, the production company is Dino De Laurentiis Corporation, distributed by Universal. So I suspect he probably, I mean, it was probably already known that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
But, especially like the second you see Kyle MacLachlan, you're practically guaranteed there's a David Lynch film going on.
Yeah. So. Kind of like Helena Bonham Carter and
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Or Johnny Depp and Tim
Johnny Depp. Yeah. Depp, I say. You know what I meant.
Yeah, so it's so different than any other thing that he's done. And those books are hard to translate into film.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the version that it's either in current production or it's done. I don't know, but they're talking about another version.
Yeah, so. I've read something about that, yeah. I'm interested to see.
It should be interesting. And especially now that we've got CGI and everything else, I mean, it should be way easier.
Yeah.
Especially like with the sandworms. I mean, holy crap. And I'm almost positive they reused those sandworms in Tremors.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's like, why not? You've got them.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, they're there.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah. As well.
And I mean, they would do that like a lot in Hollywood, where they'd reuse sound stages and stuff like that, sets, and so yeah, it wouldn't surprise.
Well, yeah, Walt Disney used to reuse drawings and concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Because if you notice, Baloo and John.
Yes, they are and
same bear.
Voice. Same voice too.
Yeah. Tigger.
Yep. Well, the voice actor that does all of them now, he does like Winnie the Pooh, Tigger. I think he did Baloo and Tailspin. He does Darkwing Duck and Negaduck. Is Jim Cummings, and it's all one guy, which is pretty. It's pretty fantastic. I love it.
It is. It is.
He is so talented. And then of course you have Gravity Falls, where Alex Hirsch does.
AJ has just discovered that show, and he's like, "Mom, can we watch Gravity Falls?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, you can watch it like 5 times.
yeah, come on, put it on." And he has to rewatch episodes because it'll like come to him, like he'll be at school or whatever, and he'll be like, "Oh wait,
Oh,
and he'll
has
come
he
home and want
discovered?
to talk about it. And what?
Has he discovered, like, in the credits that there's secret codes and stuff?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm
he
waiting
doesn't
for
watch
him
the
to see
credits,
that
does
on
he?
his. Hmm?
He's got to watch the credits all the way to the end
Yeah, I'm waiting
and
for
then
him to
pause
see
it.
that. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for him to figure that out. I don't want to tell him just yet because he's enjoying the episodes so much.
Gosh, there's an entire community online that talks about all the Easter eggs in Gravity Falls and all the secondary mysteries going on. And of course there's Blendon Blandon.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to limit the online time AJ has
Oh
because
my
he's
God.
a 13-year-old boy, and if you don't limit it, he'll just be on there.
I feel kinship. But yeah, I love Gravity Falls. I tried not to fall down the rabbit hole online because there is a giant rabbit hole to fall down online.
I've avoided that on purpose
Yeah.
because you know how I get.
And you know how I get too, and it's like,
Yes.
the weekend goes by and where's Susie? I don't know. She fell down a rabbit hole looking for Gravity Falls mysteries.
She read the comments somewhere, and now
Oh,
she's learning about friggin' beef jerky making in Kazakhstan,
as one does.
as one does.
I see nothing wrong with this. I
Nor do I.
literally I fell down a rabbit hole. So I'll show you because I have these rocks.
Okay, well, I'm gonna chomp on my licorice because we got fluorite.
No, these are garnierite.
Those are huge.
Yeah, they're big. They're palm stones.
No,
So
I know they're palm stones.
as you can see, there's like some really cool nickel content. They are
Mm-hmm.
moonstones
Mm-hmm.
with nickel in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell down the rabbit hole. I also fell down the rabbit hole for
I have some on the way.
I know you do. And this too, I fell down the rabbit hole for, which is a jasper. It's ibis jasper.
I have some. Becca gave me some for Christmas.
Nice.
It's
So I
beautiful.
ended up falling down the rabbit hole because I was like, where is this stuff from? What does it do? And I fell down the rabbit hole. Ibis jasper is a composite jasper. So basically a bunch of sedimentary rock bits that all got put back together and agatized. And then the garnierite is the moonstone with extra nickel to make it green.
Yes.
So yeah, all this like crazy stuff that I fall down the rabbit hole because I'm like, what makes it green?
Why does it have a Schiller effect? Why is it different in some things and not and called something else in others? Yeah.
Exactly. And like the calcite, which is what this is, which
Has some aragonite in it, right?
oh yeah, the brown is the aragonite, and then it's banded calcite down here, which you can't really tell. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
So it's much bluer in person.
Yes.
But it's Caribbean calcite. And I absolutely love this thing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God. And I fell down the rabbit hole the second I found it and discovered all there is to discover about Caribbean calcite, which is that it's from Pakistan and it's a relatively new find. So I was like, neat. So they're not sure.
My source is Pakistani. He's nice. And I have some spheres and some obelisks and some palm stones and some moons, like crescent moons, and I got some fun stuff on the way.
Yeah, you do. I'm excited.
Yeah, I need to I haven't put up any crystals lately on my page. I really should do that because Christmas is coming. I was kind of hanging on to them for Christmas time because, I wanted to have inventory. So
No.
I should post those up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fell down the rabbit holes. Discovered native rocks of North Carolina, that kind of thing. Various
Nice.
forms of jasper,
Hmm.
Like this is one of the native rocks of North Carolina. It's a big giant druzy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. This is one of the ones that I got at the pop-up market.
That almost looks like coral, honestly.
It looks like coral, but check this out here. It looks almost like an ant colony.
Yeah.
Or like a bone.
Yeah, it does.
So
Like a vertebrae.
yeah, like it's really crazy the way it's all agatized.
And then the top looks like crystallized coral, which I know it's not, but
Yeah, it's crazy because like there's this opening opens up
that's why I say vertebrae
down here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like cleaning it out, and all of a sudden there's like water coming out, and I'm like, what? So yeah, it was really cool.
So where did that come from? North Carolina?
Yeah, this one's from North Carolina. That was sold at the pop-up market that I was at. One of the tables next to me, I was basically like, just take all my money because I'm going to spend it.
Yeah, the one I didn't get to go to because, pandemic. And
you were sick.
And I was in quarantine.
Yeah, you were sick. You were like crazy sick, so.
Yeah, a little bit.
Didn't know it yet.
Well, no, I knew I was getting sick. I just didn't know how sick.
Yeah. So, but that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the pop-up markets next year because they'll start again in the spring.
Maybe the pandemic will be done in the spring.
Here's hoping. I'm really hoping those vaccines work.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping.
I just had a bunch of work done on my car too, so it's like it wants a road trip. It told me today. It was like, Mom, come on.
Let's go to Pennsylvania.
Like, I could hear it as I was driving. The wheels were like, let's go to Aunt Susie's.
That's right. That's right, Golden Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like rocks. That's what I do. But I also like plants. So the fact that literally on one side of me was rocks and plants, and then on the other side of me was more rocks, it was just like
yeah, I just bought, actually, speaking of rocks and plants, I just planted 4 baby succulents.
I saw.
Just repotted them. And in the bottom, I have like a mixture of amethyst and rose quartz and tiger eye and shungite and obsidian.
Now, what kind of pots are they? Because those pots look cool.
They are actually ceramic with like a marble patterning on them.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link to where I got them. They're only like 3 inches though. They're small.
I've got tons of little succulents and stuff. So
okay,
cool.
Yeah, they're really cute. And I'll send you a link. I got them on Amazon.
Nice. I'm all about it.
Yep, and they were not expensive. I got 6 of them for like $20, I think.
Nice. Yeah, I don't need to hear that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just finished that new room on the house, so.
Yeah, you're gonna need some window plants.
I've got lots to spread out, so.
I need like I don't know, an ivy maybe, or something that I can just trail around the ceiling of my room.
You need not a philodendron, a pothos.
Not a philodendron. A what?
A pothos. Let me see.
Yes, I know what it is. Yes, okay. I do.
Yes, I was going to show you because I've got it literally.
Well, you can show it.
I'm seeing if it's long enough to reach over here. I don't think it is. Hold on, let me see.
It's like, but you know what? If we just say, that plant that your mom had that she guided over doorways, it's that plant.
Can you see it? Sort of, kind of.
I'm leaning like.
There. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's the one. My mom had a variegated one, which is really
there's lots of different kinds. I've got a philodendron over there, and then I've also got vanilla orchid.
Nice.
And I know you can't see like any of these plants, but but I also have, and you're gonna love this guy. He's a teeny tiny little jade.
Oh, little baby.
He's a little tiny owl.
I know where. Did you get those on Amazon? Did you get more than one?
They are on Amazon. I found this one for 25 cents in the thrift store.
Jelly.
Totally.
I actually looked at those and thought about buying them for my little baby. I have a little, it's called a jelly bean plant, and it's a type of jade. And the leaves look like jelly beans.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy I grew from like a little teeny tiny shoot off of my big jade. There we go. And he's tiny.
Such a cute little baby.
He is. He's so tiny. I love him. So yeah, I've got lots and lots and lots of plants.
Nice. Very nice.
And then of course I've got the air plants. I keep calling them Tilladansias, but I think they're Tillandsia.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
they're cool. They're the air plants. They're the air plants.
Yeah.
They're pretty. I like them. I love air plants. I wish I was better with them.
They literally require air and some misting once in a while. Like, what exactly are you not providing them with oxygen? Like,
oh no, I don't know.
Are you forgetting to mist them?
I get to mist them. Like I didn't have a mister for like the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was doing was about once a week, I was literally just like filling up the sink with water and then throwing them in there for a few minutes. Yeah.
That's not how they work.
No. So, I mean, it works good for cleaning them, like dusting them, to just like turn them upside down in the sink and swish them around to clean them.
Right. Almost as if they were paintbrushes.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
He is not having your stuff tonight, ma'am.
Oh, you muted me. That was awesome.
That was great. I don't care if you did birth a baby 9 years ago today. Enough.
Oh no, he had the TV remote.
I know. He was turning you off.
I'm shocked that it didn't just bounce off me and turn the TV on.
I guess that's our cue.
Yeah, he took a little nap, so he's all bleary-eyed now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had a good run.
Yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight as we just That was a very random conversation. That's a typical Friday night conversation that we don't usually make public.
Yeah, that's not our usual public conversation. That's usually our squirrel conversation for behind the scenes.